Hi, I'm John Townsend, and I want to welcome you today to this Q&A session. Our main topic is on how we here at James Townsend and Son create our reproduction products, where we come up with the designs, just exactly how that's done. Really interesting question. I've got lots of other great questions. Thanks for joining us today on Questions and Answers. Here's a question that came in on this last Q&A. It says, I keep hearing about this son being referenced, yet I've never seen the son. I've seen one of his daughters in a video. Is the son the cameraman? Well, it turns out that I am one of the sons of James Townsend. I'm John Townsend. A lot of people are confused by the channel name and who I am. I'm John Townsend. My father was James Townsend. He started the business. That kind of gives you an idea. There's another brother. He's actually a James. And he runs the shipping department, but you don't get to see him very often. But and you do see Ivy in the videos. The cameraman is a great friend of mine. He's a wonder. There's so many things that happen here at James Townsend and Son, and I really wanted to actually shout out the amazing set of people that do this. I don't do this by myself. Kevin's back there helping me not say stupid stuff. Aaron's back there running the camera and the audio. Ryan's even behind the scenes here working on other things like Facebook and that are particularly doing things with YouTube. And we have all these other wonderful people that work at James Townsend and Son, whether they're seamstresses or people that pack boxes or answer telephones. So there's a lot of people making it possible to make these videos. We have a couple of pemmican questions. Here's one. He says, okay, newbie question. Can I use rabbit or pigeon meat to do pemmican? Thanks for the channel. Maybe. The deal is that one of the important parts of pemmican is the suet, or this really, really hard animal fat that comes from generally, buffalo, cattle. Sometimes you can get that same kind of fat from deer. So since you have to have this fat to make it, generally it's mixed with the kind of meat that would come from that animal in particular. So generally, if you have to have suet for your pemmican, if it came from a buffalo, you'd use buffalo meat. If it came from a cow, you would use cow meat. If you came from a deer, you'd use deer meat. This mixing of different kinds of meat with a totally different fat from a different animal, since obviously pigeons and rabbits are not going to have the kind of fat that's going to work in pemmican. I just kind of doubt. I mean, you could probably do it. I'm not sure whether the meats would hold up properly. They'd have to be dried and pulverized. So it's a difficult question to answer. I would generally say no. Here's the other pemmican question. He says, how does the premium beef tallow suet work on the pemmican? And he says, is it better than Atora? The Atora suet that we used to carry. Atora you can find in the UK. You actually can't import it into the United States because of importing. I don't even want to go there. It has to do with regulations and stuff. The beef suet that we sell currently is going to actually work much better for making pemmican than the Atora. The Atora is actually mixed with some like flour and some other components that drop out, and you actually don't want that in your pemmican. So the kind that we sell currently works much better for making your pemmican. Here's one that came in. I think it came in on the last cooking episode. What do you normally do with the rest of the food after filming? Do you share it amongst the crew or just treat it as your lunch for that day? Well, generally we make way too much. But on some episodes, even if we make too much, we still eat it all right away because it's super duper good. But we generally share it around afterwards. But since we do many episodes at a time, we'll do 3 or 4 episodes generally in a day now. We don't have time to eat it all. We wish we did. But we had to push on to the next episode. And many times, because of the way we shoot the episode, we end up with 3 or 4 times as much as what you see at the end of the episode. So there's lots left over. And sometimes I eat it, that evening. Here's another one that came in on that last cooking episode. I wonder how using pork fat as opposed to butter would change the flavor. And did they have chicken broth readily available back then? And I would say that the using pork fat instead of the butter would probably make an interesting alteration, probably a very good one and an obvious one for the time period. As for chicken broth, yeah, they had those kinds of things available to them all the time. And even whether that's low cooking or high cooking in this situation, they were always making really interesting kind of gravies in the time period that you'll see in the cookbooks, cooking down all these lots and lots of meats just down into broth type consistencies to use in other recipes. But even in a low culture cooking situation, having a pot on the fire with leftover bones and meat scraps was a common way to kind of bulk up the cooking or the food that was available at the time. So in either context, yes, very, very appropriate. Yes, they had lots of broth types hanging around, I'll say. Here's a great one that came in on the last Q&A, and it's pretty simple. Pretzels. Pretzels are old, right? Pretzels have an amazing long history, kind of going back all the way to the Middle Ages. It's hard to say exactly, the time period that they go back to, but generally, you can easily push them back into the 14th and 13th century, possibly even a little bit back further. They're generally, though, kind of European or even Central European, generally coming out of the kind of Germany area. And when they come to North America, they come through that Germanic and Swedish influence coming in the late 18th century, not so much through the kind of English cooking. So I'll go ahead and put some pictures up here. There's a lot of good pictures on the internet where you see pretzels showing up in 18th century art and in art from previous centuries. So it's a great topic, and if we have time sometime in the future, maybe we'll get to do a pretzel episode. It sounds like a lot of fun. I love pretzels. Here's the main question for the day. This is Jason. It came in on the last Q&A. Excellent question. He says, about the items you offer. I hope I can make sense here. I believe that everything you sell is based off of original designs from the time period. How do you gain access to the originals in order to study them in enough detail to replicate them? Do you purchase originals or borrow them from museums? I would love to take a tour of your collection, assuming you have one. Thanks for the great video. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you for the amazingly good question. And it happens the way we figure out how to make reproductions of what we do. And we really try hard to make sure that the things we sell are based on actual pieces that were manufactured in the 18th century. But it happens in every way possible. There are times when we can purchase original pieces that we know date from the time period. Like here's a really, really good example. We haven't replicated this yet, but here's a posset, a little cooking pot from probably around 1700, possibly a little bit earlier. And at times, these things are available so we can purchase them. Here's one that we have. Here's an original pair of 18th century scissors. And you can see how very, very close they are in design to the kind that we sell today. So sometimes we have an actual original that we can base our product off of. Our 18th century hammer is another perfect example of that, where we actually purchase a hammer and then we make a replica of it. There are other times when you don't actually have the piece available to you. You have to look at pictures, whether the item's available in a museum. Then you study pictures of the time period. That's one of the reasons why we started the picture blog. That's how we do a lot of research on what kind of products we want to have. So the artwork in the time period is sort of like a photograph from the time period where you can look to see what products looked like in the 18th century. And there are times when there are no modern or there are no existing pieces available. And so you have to get your idea about what the product was like by images from the past, either in paintings or drawings. Sometimes you don't even have that. You might just have a description written out. And at times, some of the things we sell are based upon written descriptions of period products. And so then you have to put together different ideas about, well, here's a description and I know how this item is similar to it. And I can look at an existing example of that and judge how it was put together. So we sell almost 1,000 products on our website and in our catalog. And 95% of those things are made by skilled craftsmen, whether right here in the United States or overseas. Most of them, 95% of our products are made right here in the United States. Half of the things that we sell are made right here at James Townsend and Son. Now, when we make them, it's on us to do the research. Many of these other products, the craftsmen themselves have done that research, and we rely on them to do that. And there's some amazing work that's been done on this. So I really love all these great products that we are able to offer. It's a lot of fun doing the research too. So and just figuring out how you can make the product. One of my favorite things to do is product development and figuring out how it was done. I want to tell you, there is so much excitement around here right now. We're working on these giant projects, whether it's the website or it's our catalog, but we have other great projects in the offing. And one of them is improvements to the YouTube channel. And I want you to be ready for some fun stuff that hopefully we'll be able to kind of tweak, make better in the future. I know some people might be worried, oh no, you're going to change just what I like. But no, what we really want to do is change it and make it better. Hopefully, we've got some great trips, right in the offing here in the next month or two. We're going to be heading out and doing some off-site, historic site cooking episodes, but we got some other ideas we really want to try. So you're going to have to be patient with us as we experiment and tweak the channel a little bit. I also definitely want to encourage you to keep giving us feedback about how we're doing as we improve the channel. Everything we do is an experiment, whether we're actually experimenting in a cooking episode where we're experimenting with the food or when we're experimenting with making a video. They change. Sometimes we try something different. If you see something you really like, make sure to give us feedback. Even if you don't like it, give us the feedback so we know what's going on. But also, we continue to need your encouragement about how the channel is changing and what we can do better. So I really want to thank you for the support that you give us as we move forward with the channel and everything else that we're trying to do. I feel like, well, like I said, I'm really, really excited. We have got a lot of energy here because of the amazing things that we are trying to do. So make sure to keep giving us that feedback, keep giving us that encouragement so we can make this channel even better. The comment section is so amazing. Thank you for your support in the comment section, your encouragement. Thank you so much for sharing our videos on social media and everything else you do. I want to really thank you for watching today.